Welcome back to your favorite series, Homesteading Through History. The problem of bringing milk from the udder to the table has enticed many brilliant minds through history, creating the most fascinating inventions, getting us to what I believe is one of the best modern milk machines today. This came out in the 1920s and is still king. We're going to take a very brief look through history because the history of milk machines is very nuanced. Instead of getting into the minutia of all the different ones, I'm going to give you some of the highlights through history. Now, one of the very first milking machines that we see is called the catheter milk machine. And if you know anything about catheters, you can probably already assume how this worked. It was a needle-like tube that went up the orifice of the teat itself, going into the udder, expanding, which would push pressure out or relieve pressure so that the milk itself would then kind of draw itself out of the udder into the bucket. But this type of system didn't work very well when it came to cleanliness because it would pass some bacteria from one cow to the other, and it wasn't the most efficient. So what they started to do was then build on pneumatic systems where they would pump and draw air out. So some of these original catheter systems did start to implement some sort of pneumatic pump. It could have either been steam powered or even hand pump, like a bicycle pump, or even like this pump right here. Now it's these pump systems that really start to drive a lot of the innovation. And alongside that is how the suction device attaches to the udders. One of the early patented designs comes from Baldwin, a woman who took a water pump that normally has the tube that goes down into the ground. She took that, put a tube onto the end of it, and created some sort of glove system where she actually affectionately calls this the glove milking machine, where there's rubber that goes around the udder, connecting to the top of it, and finger-like things connecting to the teats underneath. The pump in her style comes from the pump action of the water pump itself. The milk comes through the tube, out of the water pump, and into a hanging bucket. Innovations didn't stop here though, and vacuum systems really fueled the next innovations. In 1889, we see the first vacuum machine called the Murchland milk machine. This actually had a suspended milk machine underneath the cow, somewhat similar to what we see here. At the time that we see the vacuum implemented, we really don't see a consensus on whether people want the machine to be underneath the cow's belly or off to the side. Now, all the vacuums at this time were just direct draw. Even though you saw stuff that this sounds like it's a pulsation, it would really pressurize a system, and that system that was being pressurized would then draw out the milk. There was a constant draw, not a pulsation draw. Now, there was a lot of innovation at this time, and it wasn't just about the machines, it was noticing about the cows. And one of the big things that they noticed was that calves, when they suck milk from their moms, they do it in a pulsating kind of manner. They suck, let go, suck, let go, a lot like a baby on a mom. So there was a lot of testing that went around. Then in 1898, the first pulsating milk machine comes around. This allows the machine to have a suck, release motion. This new pulsation solved a huge issue, and that was cow letdown. They were noticing that as the suck and release motion was happening, it allowed the cow to continue to let down the milk, because without it, on the continuous draw, it would leave 25% of that milk still up in the udder. This means that they had to spend more time stripping the cows out, which means continuing to hand milk after the machine did its thing. And then also, this caused a lot more mastitis issues, just a lot more things going on with the cow. And then also, it was seen by the dairymen at the time that the cows enjoyed it more, kicked less, and had a better time being milked. With the pulsation issue solved, we now have other problems, and that is the draw on the lines. You see, at this time, we weren't just seeing milk machines underneath the belly, we were seeing entire rooms filled with just cow tubes everywhere, trying to get the pressure from a different room to suck and draw pressure out of the machines. And honestly, this is really fascinating. We do see some gasoline systems, we see some steam systems, but the most cost-effective way at scale was to take a bull and put him on a treadmill. Bulls are big, they need constant energy. Put them on a treadmill. This treadmill moves a pulley, which then operates the pump, which then pumps the tubes, which then connect to the machines, which then draw the milk. Very fascinating. Now, I know the picture shows a horse, but the documents talk about the best use of your dairy is to take a bull that you had to have on your dairy and that had a ton of energy. It was to put him onto this pulley system and use him and work him. Now in 1922, we get Herbert McCormack, who noticed something very important about how a calf gets milk from its mom. The milk wasn't just drawn by a pulsating rhythm, it was drawn by a tongue squeezing on the teat and letting go. And it was also drawn by the cows tugging on the teats. And this led him to create the best milk machine there ever has been. Now this system was a belly milking system, a lot like some of the other things that we saw in the past, not a bucket off to the side like some other inventions. And what he designed specifically for this oscillating pump action to do was to rock as it was milking from the cow. This allowed the inflations to pull and tug on the teat while milking. The pull and tug plus the pulsation weren't the only things he implemented. Is inside of this nifty thing right here. Inside of this metal is actually just a tube. Back then it was rubber, and this pipe draws air. As the pipe is drawing the air, it vacuums inside of this metal piece, and what it does is it sucks and shrinks and opens, just like the suction put on the teat by the cow's tongue. Now this tug and pulsation method, along with the tongue thrust, increased milk production by 25%. The reason for this is because it was shown that the oxytocin levels inside of the cows were directly related to how they were being milked. They felt as though they were being actually milked by a calf. This incredible invention increased their production and their life and their happiness while being milked. With these calf mimicking methods, we see an overall increase in production by 25%. We see udder health being maintained, and we see less mastitis. Mastitis cases dwindled because with the newfound happiness of the cow and the new mimicking methods, they fully let down, keeping none of that milk up high in the udder. Everything came out. This milk machine was so effective that even large dairies adopted this, and it became the prime milking device for 79 years. The only reason why this machine got edged out was because in 1999 we started to see a lot more robotic, automatic milking systems, AMS systems, really be implemented into larger dairies, where this thing lost its patent in 1999 and then stopped being into production. From this time of 1999, we start to see a little bit more modern innovation when it comes to these milk machines, but a lot of them are not belly milkers. They're milkers that are off to the side. Because when you have the bucket off to the side of the cow, you have to have these long tubes connecting to the bottom of the udder where milk passes through. This inevitably can harbor bacteria, and you have to use modern, harsh chemicals in order to clean these things out. Despite those modern innovations, this still belly milks underneath the cow, and the only tubes that milk passes through are right here, making it way easier to clean and can go into modern cleaning devices like a dishwasher. The large tubes cannot go into dishwashers. They can't be cleaned as easy or sanitized as easy. It took decades to get to the Surge milk machine, and we're yet to see the innovation getting us back to here. And now if you have a cow or even a goat, and I've made you curious about buying one of the Surge milk machines, they're so old, they're out of patent, it makes it really hard to find. But if you want to be able to find them, I'm going to make an entire video breaking down every single piece so that you can buy them piece by piece. Don't buy them already bought because they're way more expensive. I will talk about that all in the video linked here at the end. And if you want to follow my Homesteading with History series, I'll leave a link to the playlist here also. See ya.